What's up, guys? Welcome to Pretty Eats, where we look pretty and eat pretty foods. Today we are trying B&T crawfish. I seen it on TikTok. So I'm like, everybody was saying it was so good.
Oh, good. I'm gonna say that so I can go back and look after it.
Smell good. Okay. Y'all, we usually be getting moms, but I got corn. I told him give me 2 corn. Yeah, corn.
Is there eggs?
Yeah.
That's not so big. What you trying to do?
They're very serious. When he's 14, he goes to a Boy Scouts camp in Idaho.
Yeah, sitting down here.
That's the corn. I told the lady I want corn, potato, and egg. Look. Okay. But I told her give me eggs. She didn't even give me none. She knows she is so wrong. I want to see if theirs was better than mine.
So you didn't know egg?
No.
So you didn't check it out for your about?
No. Anyways, God is good, God is great. So let's thank you for our food. By his mercy, we give us all the bread. Bless the cook, bless the food, let's nourish my body. Amen.
Amen.
Now let's see. Now, I thought I told the lady she didn't put it in the bag.
You got another bag over there?
I didn't even get us nothing to drink. I always done stuff on myself.
I'm learning that. I probably have listened to you as I go. You gonna take your titties out and stuff so these are okay. I don't want to put them in the bed.
Let's try a potato. This crop is hot too, and I ain't get us nothing to drink.
I have water. It's not cold, it's room temperature. There's one right here, look, if you right there that can hold it. It tastes seasoned good. I showed you on the taste with the egg would have been nice. Oh, you got a lot. You was feeling like corn today.
I told her to give me a corn and egg. Or a potato.
You know what I'm saying? You got 4 corns, you never do this. That's what I'm saying.
She must have put another corn in there instead of my egg. That's all.
This one's better than mine.
Okay, it's not overcooked like mom's beef.
And it's gonna have an aftertaste.
Which the LDS Church allegedly. Just curious, why would you not like that? No accusations, just thoughts. Just how weird. Now, even though Adam is an abuser that belonged to the LDS Church, it appears nobody cared. Nobody wanted to do anything. The backlash is causing the street of demanding justice, trying to get other victims to get help. This is, I mean, the entire family has to relocate from Idaho to Utah because it's that bad. They were shot. That is where Adam meets his future wife, Mary, at BYU. They get married, they have 2 kids now, and everyone is telling his wife, even before the marriage, that Adam is a terrible person. He did all of these weird, shady things to try and make money. The alleged church leader
You're dropping juice in your braids.
Adam, President Philip, he ran the whole, what is it,
This is really fun.
So Joe,
Yes, and
all these things, right?
yes, she wasn't as involved with all these higher-ups, but it's alleged that she saw Mary Hansen play again, even dance church.
See,
Adam says his wife would just confront him all the time, just out of nowhere, confronting him with abstract things like very vague accusations. You're in self-denial about your own addiction. What is it?
My finger burning while I broke my nail.
Adam says, I just have a million questions. I mean, it doesn't even make sense. What addiction are we I was never diagnosed with any sort of addiction, nor was I actively struggling with one. Sure, he has PTSD from the abuse he suffered as a child, but what the hell is his wife on about? When Jody starts telling them that everyone has an addiction, every single person has an addiction, whether it's food or reading the Book of Mormon too much. Yeah, you can do that apparently. Every single person has an addiction. She's explaining to these marriage counseling classes that Adam and his wife are a part of that every action comes from addiction.
I don't never use our
It's
microphone.
rooted in addiction. Most of the
I
time,
put it on top of my purse right there.
it is the cause of every action that you take. Are you
I should've got it from back then when I was,
it's an addiction that's causing the jealousy.
place.
Are you engaged
It's just
in
right there. You wanna use it?
food is delicious? No, it's actually an addiction. It may not be
Okay.
obvious at first, but that's what Jody's here for, right? To get to the bottom of your addiction. For example,
What?
Jody
I'm gonna have to
teaches
connect
you
the Bluetooth
spend
bit.
time not
Mm,
thinking
good
about
time.
something, like a picture of a person. The fact that you have to
As long as we use it yet, huh?
We did use it one time.
in other words, all
Ooh.
systems.
I saw that.
Every time.
Think about the magazine on the aisle in the grocery store. The fact that you have to
I mean,
not
that
think
corn.
about it means
I ain't gonna identify.
Facts.
which, by the way, she's talking about like flipping the magazine. She's not even talking about customers. Another huge belief that Jody teaches her married couples is from the beginning, Jody tells every single married couple
They put the potatoes on the apples.
separation. It's the concept of only if the relationship dies. And makes sense. Because of the worship of Christ and his resurrection in the LDS faith, in theory, this whole theory of relationship dying is almost too perfect. But Adam soon realizes, quote, if the relationship or marriage didn't die on its own, Jody had a full relationship with any sociopath in real life. After a few weeks of being in a big group setting with a bunch of married couples and Jody, now it's time to graduate to the next step. Split the couples up. Husbands go off to the men's counseling group, wives go off to the women's counseling group, and that's where things just start to change. Adam is placed in a group setting with other husbands. Jody is leading him.
Can't handle this good spice.
Week after week are just confessing in the men's group. They're confessing the most heinous predatory crimes. They're confessing to having thoughts about SA, child abuse, incest. Adam is traumatized.
And we're down the wrong side.
This group, but Jody doesn't actually know the same ones as these people. He's like, no,
That stuff.
I don't have predatory thoughts. These people are predators because they're confessing to these predatory thoughts.
We made a little teardrop come out.
I feel triggered when I'm in this room. She's like, no, you're in denial. You're just as bad. I'm going to help you see the truth. This escalates.
She gonna make them believe they a predator. They was crazy.
Very sensitive and she's vulnerable. Adam says Jody starts taking her calls just deeper. She starts helping Adam's wife identify how she's the victim. Mary was likely very confused. Like, what do you mean I'm the victim? It's the sweetie. You just don't know it yet. That's what Jody said. Jody tells me that she has been conditioned by Adam to believe that a husband
And they juiced it.
here and there is normal. It's not normal. It's basically the same level as cheating or domestic violence, if not worse. So of course you cannot trust him around your kids. She's trying to tell Mary it's the same as if Adam killed someone, you know? Would you forgive him and just hope that he doesn't kill someone else? Or maybe doesn't kill you or your baby? Adam is so taken aback to be treated like a predator. I mean, he had to upgrade his whole life after being victimized as a child, and he's still trying to work through the trauma, and his own wife is treating him like a perpetrator. Mary
went to her, should have.
The addiction knows that you are solving
That's what I
the
asked.
addiction. Of course, the addiction doesn't want you to keep going. Addiction is a parasite and it wants to keep being
sorry.
fed. Mary rejects this idea. She's like, no, I'm going with Jody. Now again, this is just from Adam's perspective. Mary has not said her side of the story, but it seems like there are files of evidence. She's on a big podcast called Mormon Stories.
These things spicy.
Grand Ruby Frankie case. That 5-hour-long interview with Mormon Stories with Adam has been taken down due to a court order. So it's
I hate commercials.
there are speculations that Mary did not like being spoken to. But Mormon Stories, when Adam
just
went out
talking
there,
about that.
he
That was
gave
fast
every
forward.
single file that he had. Police reports, the 500-page honor code office file. He gave lawyer statements, every court order he gave. He gave Joe DeBrand's therapy notes and his subpoena. He gave everything. So it's still alleged, but I just now Mary allegedly rejects this idea. From this point forward, she says we're not going to live together in the same apartment because we have 2 kids together, but we're not going to speak unless Jody is present. She even goes as far to allegedly give Adam a letter that says, as of today, I am no longer willing to take upon me the responsibilities that come with being your spouse. I set the following boundaries in order to
Oh,
protect
okay.
myself from expectations that are not being met in this relationship. I will no longer do these things for you as a wife. Cooking, cleaning, laundry, dishes, picking up stuff after you, reminding you of any of your responsibilities or appointments, assisting in you and your schoolwork, spending family time, sharing intimacy, sharing a bed, engaging in any kind of physical touch beyond these social acceptable boundaries of friends. I will consent to share our apartment as living space. I will consider to have my responsibility to take care of myself and our 2 children, and I will not consider it my duty to inform you of my daily activities and plans.
I don't want to suck the head because it make my mouth burn more, but I just can't like.
Then one day, Adam allegedly asks if he'll give the baby a bath. She goes, gives the baby a bath. He says, quote, she totally walks into the bathroom to the laundry. Like, I just remember thinking, oh my gosh, she's finally listened to me. We're gonna get back to our normal life and stuff. And she started speaking and acting like she was gonna hop in the tub with me, and I'm holding our baby, our 1-year-old, and I was like, hey, you gotta get the baby out of the tub. And I'm laughing, thinking it's funny. She leaves with the baby. She comes back into the bathroom.
Who the hell is
She
Riley?
looks at my private parts, and then she
I didn't
looks
even
at me in
realize.
disgust and just turns her back and walks away.
Guys, what is it?
That is the alleged honor code reported he had in the bathroom.
But
You want to get your potato plate under them shells.
Like a setup that's in happened is it's
but why is it necessary?
this bathroom incident, the motives behind it there later, but Mary, his wife, is turning into a little soldier for Jody is what it appears to me. Adam doesn't even recognize her anymore. For example, Adam and his wife had this trip planned to go to Yellowstone. They're bringing some friends there, one couple from Brazil. They just had a baby, the couple from Brazil, and they don't have much money because they're exchange students on top of all of this. So Adam really wants to
What do people want to go like that?
Brazilian couple, and he's
I don't even hear nobody. You
you guys pay for it. They
rolled up.
food on the trip. It's a big for Adam to be able to finally do something like this and to, I don't know, do something special for his friends. But when they get to Yellowstone, Adam promised his wife that they're going to stay within an entire budget for the entire trip. Now, I believe most of the money that they were spending was Adam's. He did get settlement money from the Boy Scouts of America, but it wasn't a lot. It's not like he's rolling in it, and he also does not spend lavishly. At this point, he's hundreds of thousands off the defense Jody has Mary because to confidently call the police and say that this is a transgression, that it's an act of domestic violence, it's not comparable, that you cannot be in a place where your brain is functioning.
I'm just dropping drinks that's spitting all over myself.
She genuinely thinks the cops are going to handcuff Adam, log in his little backpack into evidence. It doesn't make sense. The next day, Mary calls the police again on Adam. This time she allegedly states that he physically abused her by pushing against her, which is very interesting wording. Like, did he push you? What do you mean he pushed against you? She states, yeah, well, I was sitting in there like, boom. They asked, were you blocking him from being able to leave the apartment? Well, yeah. Did he hurt you? No. The police leave because Adam's been incredibly impatient during all of this, but he finally decides, that was the second time, I'm not going to do this anymore. Like, you gotta stop calling the police on me. You're publicly humiliating me. I mean, not even if the police do anything. A lot of people are just going to assume that he's violent and abusive and that the police are just being incompetent. So Adam decides he's just going to get his life back, and that means sleeping on his own bed for once. He's been sleeping on the couch. He says, I paid for the house, I paid for the apartment, so I went into my bedroom and I slept on my bed. I said to my wife, if you don't want to sleep next to me, you don't have to, but I'm not going to sleep on the floor or the couch anymore.
Because she's great.
Being treated like this subhuman being. Adam's wife calls the police and states that Adam attempted to essay her that night. What did he do? She says, well, she felt like he might essay her. The police
corn.
because he was not an arrest, he didn't say it, he didn't try it, all he did was sleep in his own bed that he has a right to, and she was just having a feeling. When this does not work the way that Mary and allegedly Jody likely intended, Mary just disappears with their 2 kids for a little bit. Now again, this is alleged at this point. I think, like anything, to do your own research. This is not a true story, and Mary has not publicly spoken out about it, so it's, but you get it. Now Adam's with 3-week-old baby, his wife, which is gone. So after a few days, he files a police report because he thought they'd been kidnapped. Adam says he went and talked to Jody about what was happening and how heartbroken he was and what's going on with the kids and Mary, and he says, I just remember being in this agonizing pain, feeling it intensely, and I remember looking over at Jody.
I have to wash my shirt right away.
Her cheeks were blushing.
So at this point, he's resentful of Jody. Does he think something is wrong with Jody as well? Or?
It's like a mixture of, he knows that Jody is telling her a lot of things clearly that aren't making sense, but at this point he's kind of confused more than anything. He doesn't know what's going on behind the scenes between Jody and Mary, when it's just so from there, Adam starts reporting Adam trying to abuse her kids, likely just making up the same stories that Jody was telling her. She gets a protective order against Adam and orders him to meet up with her afterwards. So he gets served this temporary protective order, and then she's like, hey, come meet up with me because I like you. Like, maybe we can work this out. He goes to where he she's also going to NYU Honor's office for reporting for violent and predatory. So not only is Adam facing expulsion from college, he's facing a likely divorce and 20 years in prison for breaking his protective order. He's trying to tell his church leader
20 years.
to help my family. And you have to read through these files because none of this is true. Like, this protective order is not true. I don't know what's going on. To which the bishop just responds, oh, just hide away from your husband unless there's something. Adam is just looking at him shocked, like, what are you talking about? You know me. The bishop is just staring at Adam. Do I know you? What? Are you talking about, like, you think I'm, like, physically violent or I'm sexually abusing her? He says, the bishop smiles. another elevated history. Pretty well known.
The Crawfish killer? My dad? I didn't ever have to know. If I don't deal with him, there is a family who lost a daughter who will never get answers.
You've been telling yourself a story about yourself, and now it's catching up with you. Just like
I started watching it.
I am not like you at all.
Therapist, and I trained her Jody for a year. As I trained under her, I saw her tear apart families and destroy relationships. I believe she is truly
Him, Josie, you know,
and
I
I
guess
say
you're
that
right.
lightly. I have done so much therapy for people coming out of her broken homes who were traumatized by the therapy. I don't have an axe to grind, but I am tired of people getting hurt by her work. I'm reluctant to speak out against colleagues and other therapists. However, I wouldn't mind somehow, some way helping people see how dangerous this woman is. But nobody is willing to listen to Adam or anybody else that has said anything negative about Jody. Adam was referred to Jody by the bishop of the church. Jody works as a therapist for this massive company called Lifestar. Which side note, the church bishop that recommends Adam to Jody, the bishop's brother owns that chapter of Lifestar, which is already a massive conflict of interest. It just adds to all the foul characters in this case. Because the sick part is, Adam gets money for the settlement use case for things like therapy, and the bishop knows that, and it's like he's thinking, well, why not get that money for Adam by going to his business where they afford therapists? And it's not cheap or affordable, it's $1 per person, and that's not even individualized therapy. That's to join a men's group with a bunch of other husbands, and then you have personal sessions that you have to pay for. That's 1 to 2 additional sessions per week. Between Adam and his wife Mary, I mean, they're spending thousands of dollars per month to work with Jody. Lifestyle itself has its own controversies. It's known for being a network of LDS therapists, and some have said if you go to Lifestyle and you've ever seen a naked body depicted on any sort of media, God forbid that you've ever watched explicit videos, you're an addict and you're going to need to enter a lengthy 12-step program. Many therapists in the network also believe that it's never self-pleasure who are technically cheating on your partner, and this is a grave instance of infidelity and you need to join a support group. There have also been accusations against Lifestar that they will, if you have health insurance, they will diagnose you with an actual DSM-5 recognized diagnosis because addiction is not one. I know that a lot of people do struggle with it, but addiction is technically not one. So they'll diagnose you with other things in the DSM-5 so that your insurance will pay for it. Allegedly, that is the accusation that has been levied upon them multiple times by influencers. Which side note, I think it's fine if someone believes it's not
Sure does.
to take part in
What you
self-pleasure
listening to?
or consumption of explicit materials. I think we should respect everybody's choice, especially, well, older. But to actually go around shaming everyone, condemning them to the deepest, darkest depths of hell for doing it, I think causes more harm. And for Adam, it was there was this never-ending idea that self-pleasure is one of the greatest evils in the world, like right up there with murder. He says, you know, there's a lot of guilt and shame behind explicit material in the church. I mean, I had a lot of guilt and shame. As a kid growing up, I discovered self-pleasuring a few weeks before I met Brad, and just on my own, quietly, from then on, I just always believed that God had sent this pedo into my life to punish me because I was sick. So, like, that's how ingrained and how damaging it is, that it made him believe that he deserved to be a victim of SA as punishment. And now he's recommended by the church to Jody, and she's telling him that he was never against that he's the addict, the bad one. And now he has to show him to court to refute accusations against him about the whole bathroom incident. He thinks the whole thing is crazy. I mean, Mary walked in with lingerie. He wanted her to put the baby to sleep so that they can have consensual adult time, and she accuses him of CSA of his own child. He is a victim of CSA. He walks into court, and the worst conflict of interest is sitting right there. Right next to Mary, there's Jody Hildebrand, the therapist, but also Elder Halam,
your pile a little higher than mine.
It's smaller. I didn't have a lot of bags left to fill it up.
For violation of the protective order, domestic violence, and cancer. And Adam states these are all the lies. He has now spent $2,000 going through all this trauma, finding all these allegations just to plead guilty to an intent to break a protective order, which is a misdemeanor. He had to pay a fine, no jail time. He did spend like a few days in jail because they briefly arrested him right when he broke the protective order. But he technically pled guilty, which means everyone in Utah in the church thinks that he's this crazy abuser that was never abused as a kid, just creating chaos wherever he goes. But later, they will find evidence that some really dark things were
I wonder what they saying now, because she in jail.
They allegedly found evidence that they were trying to manufacture evidence on Mary and Adam's child to police as of SA. So remember the incident in the bathroom? They were trying to enhance that with evidence, allegedly. What did you find?
You peeled you slow it down.
Obviously, these are not available to the public. Just descriptions of it make it seem like there is evidence that shows Jody and Mary trying to
Straight in my face.
the daughter of police
I see it too.
to save, like,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
training her. If it would. Mary and her attorneys used Adam's psych evaluation that showed how bad the abuse he endured in childhood was. They used those documents to now decide to take his children away from him. So, side note, they also just go around showing these documents to everyone, just with extensive details of the trauma he endured, just letting everyone read it like it's a book club. And Adam says the worst part is they use it against him to say that he's not fit to be a dad. He says, think about it, a victim comes forward, tells us about childhood trauma. Maybe he's a decent person, but this is really traumatic, and they use it to punish me, try and take the kids away. He says they kept arguing that because I was a victim of sexual abuse, I wasn't able to be a parent. They twisted it into something heinous to just stab him with. Now, an additional side note, Mary at one point accuses Adam of cheating, which in itself is
We never did get none.
What?
But Adam has
need some
trauma from
snacks.
when he was a child, and it's likely that he has a very complicated relationship, or did have a complicated relationship with his sexuality, because he was abused by a minister who happened to be male. And being from a faith that typically condemns gay relationships, it's likely further complicated things for Adam as a victim. There was just no bar too low, no bar in hell too low for Jody and Adam's now ex-wife Mary to just target Adam. Emails between Jody and Mary were uncovered in Adam's fight to exonerate himself from the accusations. So the two, Mary and her therapist Jody, are writing to each other about the contract that Mary is going to give Adam. They're going back and forth and like, oh, you should say we're living together but technically separate. This is crazy. Mary emails Jody. I wrote up this contract yesterday afternoon after our meeting. It's still a work in progress. I'm open for any suggestions. Thanks. Jody responds, this looks good. More specific would be even better, but this looks good as a starting point. I will share this with you this evening if you would like. They later add stipulations that Adam cannot withhold funds from his wife, and that he is not allowed to see any other therapist outside of Jody.
This is lovely.
A scroll might seem like an unlikely financial role model, but consider this. They bury thousands of nuts and seeds every single year. And the ones that are forgotten about, they grow into these huge trees that produce more seeds. It's a simple strategy that yields really impressive results. Investing doesn't have to be more complicated than that, which is where Acorns comes in. Acorns is a financial wellness app that makes it easy to start saving and investing for your future. You don't need to be an expert. Acorns will recommend a diversified portfolio that
on
who is
this
friendly
one.
with Adam is going to suffer too. Truly, to try and alienate him is what I think. Adam was the kids, not legally, but I think it was more so agreed upon. And Seth fumed with him to see Mary. Mary
Oh, that little white is thin, huh?
shell the size
They was only $1.
and throws it at Adam. He quickly dodges because he's holding their baby in his arms, and Seth learns something about it.
Oh, that was good, y'all. I will go there again.
Spicy,
Like I like them.
hot.
Flavorful.
Flavorful.
It was
They
good.
turn around, and the honor code
I rate them.
also Seth is a chef. He cooks with wine sometimes.
I'm gonna give them a 9 because I like seafood, and if I did it, I would have to give myself a 10, so they can't have that. So
Big laughter with 5 of Adam's friends for again the sole reason that Adam is
The corn was good.
So at one point, the BYU police sent by the honor code office
Oh, I gotta clean under my nails.
Adam for about 2 hours, asking
Just that
incredibly intense
crawfish
questions about the abuse he suffered when he was 14. What does that have
what
to
they
do
smell like though? Baby powder?
Kinda.
But it's just not sinless. It's just the natural white smell.
Adam says he will never forget the day that he was accused of
I got this freaking corn stuck in my teeth.
How he couldn't breathe and that he committed the crime in the parking lot afterwards. So there's a clear conflict of interest everywhere here. These subpoenas the BYU honor code files on him, which Jody clearly
My heart.
confidentiality by talking to them about Adam. But not only that, she has nothing to back up any accusations, suspicions, or statements that she has uttered about Adam. He subpoenaed her therapy case notes, and the case notes about Adam.
Then my finger burning where I broke my nail too.
This sexual predator, one of the most dangerous
I gotta get out and get that crawfish from right there.
One-year-old daughter. He's Julie has 2 novel-length spinal movies on detailing his sick
That's probably Zach.
persons. But when he gets her notes, it's like this.
Oh, yeah, we got a vacuum right there.
Not even. Adam is in here for marriage counseling. Has some sexual issues that he wants to work on. Staring 20 seconds too long at a picture of an unbelievable woman on the internet. That's about it. Yeah, because he's like, this is not a good therapist. Like, this is crazy. She's letting all these accusations against me, and these are her notes on me. Like, I've told her nothing. She wasn't even Adam's personal therapist. He was part of group sessions, but he never really sat with her one-on-one. So he's like, suddenly you're just coming out accusing me of, like, out of date for no reason at all.
Oh, why you? Oh, you got to in to get it? Because someone said, why you get that?
Why you didn't get it?
You got out. Why you didn't get that in the trash?
It's not even just like say this, but she's all presented
Oh, not this one.
not in his she's coaching her on the road to delivery. She writes, give the authorities the right thinking because they're not with those
No, if y'all live in BR, get y'all some of those crawfish.
Be direct and act inquisitive, not angry or
It was good.
that thing that they
Now I gotta go.
themselves. Mary would email back. Those suckers, they totally fell for it. Ultimately, Adam would not get custody of his kids, although he's in their lives now. Netizens theorize it's mainly because Mary and Jody are no longer in each other's lives, and Mary allegedly wants to focus on dating.
Trash can right here. She done went all the way.
She's just better.
Oh no, and now y'all looking at the ceiling.
Allegedly from their perspectives.
She done, cause it's her fault, cause she done went all the way up here. Oh, water that hit the floor.
He was also placed in jail for 7 days for breaking that restraining order. He was kicked back to court. He was hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt.
I was talking to the people. Eh? Why you came way down here and there was a trash? We was parked literally right
That
next to
man was right there.
Oh.
Okay. That's it in today's video. Make sure I like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.
Bye.